Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Chris Hill. I'm with the marketing team here at Taqtile, and we have a great session planned for you here in the next 60 minutes or so. So thanks again for joining us. I'm going to be joined by Matt and Johnny, and they'll introduce themselves in a second. Just before we get going, just want to let everyone know that this is being recorded, and we'll send the recording to everyone that's registered for the webinar here within the next couple days. And then also be sure to submit your questions. We have everyone on mute because there's quite a big crowd here today, but feel free to submit your questions in the Q&A panel, and we'll have plenty of time to cover the questions at the end. In terms of the demo, we're going to do this a little bit different than the last couple of webinars if you join us for those. This is going to be 80% live demo, so a lot of fun here, a lot of interesting things to see. Johnny and Matt are doing this without a net. It should be interesting, but it will be very informative and very engaging. We'll also talk a little bit and introduce you to some deals or offers or packages. We have some things that help you get started with our software, and then we'll open it up again at the end for Q&A. So with that, let me introduce or have Johnny introduce himself. Go ahead, Johnny.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Chris. Hi, everyone. So I'm Johnny Gorvet. I'm a technical solution specialist here at Taqtile, based in London in the UK, but looking after our EMA market. Over to you, Matt.
Okay, hello, everyone. My name is Matt Borland, calling in from sunny Seattle, Washington today. My role at Taqtile is North American sales. I tend to work closely with any customers in our North American market. The scenario and the demo that Johnny and I are going to walk through today really follows the day in the life of how two kinds of people are going to use Manifest. So today I'm going to be playing the technical trainer or the content creator, while Johnny is going to be playing the role of a brand new training technician at our company. So we've got these four main tasks that we're going to complete. So first, I'm going to create a training from scratch using our Manifest Maker tool. After that, I'm going to publish it to the Manifest domain, and Johnny is going to pick it up and show how that training can be instantly used on Manifest for iPad. Then he'll pass it back to me, and I'm going to use the Manifest web interface to track his progress and audit his completed trainings. After that, I'll pass it back to Johnny, who's going to show the full Manifest head-mounted experience in XR. So let's go ahead and get this started. So let's imagine that I am a training supervisor at my company here. And today I need to create a step-by-step procedure from scratch. I'm going to be using Manifest Maker to do that. There's other tools available to me that I will sometimes use, like the web interface or headsets. However, I'm using Manifest Maker because there's a specific function that I want to use here. So I'm going to select New Template, and let's go ahead and give it a name. So I'm going to call this Module 5. Reuse inspection. Again, the device that you're seeing me use right now is an Apple iPad. So once I've given my template the name, I'm going to start adding my media that's going to support my step-by-step procedure. In this case, I have a video that was already captured. And sometimes at my company, we will use phones or tablets to capture these videos. Sometimes we use really high quality professional video setups. In this case, it was really as simple as somebody just using an iPhone to capture a subject matter expert walking their way through the video. And one of the main reasons that I wanted to use Manifest Maker in creating this procedure was I wanted to harness the auto-generate steps function. So what I'll do is I'll give Manifest Maker this 35-second video, and I'm going to tell it to generate a step-by-step procedure using just this video. And what this is doing is really following the talk track of the video and breaking it into steps where it sees fit. And this is what it came up with. We see that there's a 4-step procedure here, and each step is supported with a step instruction, a text note, and a video clip that was pulled from the master. So I'm going to add these 4 steps to my template. And from here, I'm going to add some additional content and color where I want it. So I can do things like dragging and dropping the order of steps. I'm going to delete this step 0. Now, step 1 looks really good, but to inspect the landing gear for leaks and cracks, I actually want to add a photo into this as well. I'm going to turn that volume down. So if I want to add a photo to Manifest Maker, I could either upload a photo manually or I could pull it from the main video feed, and that's what I'll do today. So I just pulled this still image from the video feed, and I'm going to give it some markups just to help the trainee better understand what they're actually looking at and what they should be doing on this step. And this is another reason why I use Manifest Maker a lot, is because it's just really fast and easy to get these edits done. If I want to do really advanced things with really nice graphics, sometimes I'll use my Adobe Photoshop for that. But in this case, I'm using Maker because it's really fast, it's easy, and it's very accessible. Now, one other thing that I want to do here is add a bookmarked manual. So specifically on step 3, inspecting the wheel tread, I do have a technical manual that I want to make available. I'm going to upload that to Manifest Maker, and specifically, I want them to reference page 12. So now my step-by-step procedure is pretty complete. I'm going to go ahead and push this to Johnny, and he's going to now pick this up on the iPad. So to export this, I simply press export, exporting it to my Manifest domain, and then Johnny can instantly pick it up for work.
Great. And as Matt said, I'm a trainee working for the same company as Matt. Matt has kindly provided me with all of my training modules. And what I'm doing now is I've actually logged into Manifest on my iPad. So we're in the full project of Manifest. What I can see, if I actually log in and I'm at my work tab, I can see that all of my training modules on the right-hand side in this completed bucket, I actually completed earlier today. So I completed modules 1 to 4. And if I wanted to, I could go and review these and check all the work I'd done. But as I'm in the mood to complete my training and move on to fully working, I can actually see that I have one module available, one module left to complete, which is module 5, the pre-use inspection that Matt had made in his training. So what I can do when I'm ready to start this training module and complete it, I can click on it and it will open up a nice work package for me. So the first thing I'm going to do when I'm reviewing this training is on the left-hand side, I can see I've got 4 steps. So these 4 steps I can quickly read through. Each one of these has a brief description. So the first step is asking me to inspect landing gear leaks and cracks. And I can also see each one of these steps has some notes. So text notes, photo notes, video notes, all the good stuff to help me complete this training. So I may just give this a quick once over, quick read through. I can also notice that there's some AR content here. So I'm going to definitely make sure to review this when I go and start the job. So the last thing I'll do before I start the job is I'm just going to check the job and the training module I'm working on and the asset I'm working on are correct. So I can see I've got the ID. So that's the correct ID I'm working on. And I'm also just going to check that the asset details are correct. So the asset in front of me is, it's the 20 MVL01, and it's all looking good. So with that being said, I'm going to start this training and get underway. So I'm going to hit this start job button, and that will kick things off. I can see my time has started, which is perfect. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is look at the steps that I'm going through. As I said, this first step is nice and simple. It's asking me to inspect the landing gear for leaks and cracks. I get some information in the middle, some rich media, so I can maybe actually swipe through and I can see there's a marked up photo here. So I can maybe zoom in and see exactly where I'm looking for. So specifically looking at this strut for some leaks and cracks, maybe I'll swipe over one more time and just check this video. Okay. So this video is also pointing me towards that strut. So I've had all this information, especially the description, some enriched media. Now I just want to make sure that I'm really looking at the right places. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to hit this switch to AR button just at the bottom. When I hit that button, it's actually going to ask me to now scan my QR code and associate myself with my asset. So I'm going to hit scan QR code, and here is my asset in front of me. I'm just going to get nice and close to this QR code and scan it. And just like that, we've got some nice AR content overlaid on top of the asset. So just like before, we're having some indication pointing me at this strut. So maybe I'll have a quick once round just to make sure there's no quite leaks and cracks. I can see it's a little bit dirty, but no cracks there available. But if I look up as well, I can actually see I'm supposed to be looking at these connection points as well. See if I look away, nice, some arrows pointing me to the right location. So I maybe do this visual check, maybe do a full 360 around this just to make sure that everywhere is correct. There's no leaks or cracks available. And with that being done, on the right-hand side, I'm just going to hit this nice big orange yellowy button of done. I've done my check, done my inspection, and that's going to jump me to the next step, which if I look at the top left, it's asking me to secure the linkage connections. So a very nice, easy step. Again, I'm going to review some of the AR content. So we've got these two yellow lines just guiding me to where typical linkage connections are. So maybe just one there, get a nice green arrow pointing up into my connections. So it's nice and perfect, looking good there. And then we have on the underneath side, we have 3 arrows pointing to the linkage connections here, but I can maybe get a good view on. What I'm going to do as well is just also review some of the 2D content I have available. So on the left-hand side, I'm going to tap the text note where it's going to say, ensure all linkage connections are secure, tighten bolts if necessary. Likewise, I'm going to swipe across, okay, get a nice, good view on some of the images there. So I can actually maybe just do a manual check that some of these bolts, all these bolts are tightened and all okay. So with that being said, that's all okay. And I've checked that the linkage connection is secure. Now I'm going to actually have to, now instead of moving on, what I can also see is on the right-hand side where it says add evidence, there's a nice red button there. So on this step, it's asking me and telling me I need to leave some evidence, making sure that this connection and the linkage connections are secure. So I'm going to hit this add evidence button, and I'm given a list of some different 2D media to leave. So I can either leave photos, videos, audio note, text notes. But at the top there, it does say I can leave any evidence I want. So typically I'd leave a photo or a video, give as much information as possible. But as I'm required to leave any, I'm maybe just going to leave a quick text note. So I'm just going to say linkage is secure, just like that. I'm going to hit that save button. And that evidence is now being saved to my step, and I can nice and easily move on to the next step. So by just hitting that done button on the right. We then move on to the third step where we're being asked to just inspect the entire wheel tread. So given a quick view of where to look, and maybe I'll just go over a quick once around. Again, I'm going to open up some of this 2D content just to make sure I get all the information available. So thoroughly inspect for any imperfections, inspect the tire tread. Okay, all good stuff. So I'm actually going to do a quick once round. So this side looks good. And if I move around to this side, so what I can actually notice, it might be a bit dark on the iPad, is there's actually a slight bit of wear just, I'm in the wrong thing here, just here, a slight bit of wear there. So I could move on from this step. I could maybe move on and complete it. But as I found an issue, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to leave a fault. So I'm going to jump out of this AR mode. So again, hitting the button on the bottom right, switch out. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave a fault just to make sure that someone is aware of this damage I found to the tire. So on the right-hand side, I'm going to hit this add fault button. And then I'll leave a quick description, damage to tire. This is simple. What else can I leave? So I'm also going to leave a photo, I think. So I'll tap the photo, and maybe I'm just going to get nice and close, get some good view of the damage. Yeah, there we go. Nice flash will help me of the damage just there. So I'm going to use that photo. And what I'm then going to do is, so quite clear, but just to make it even more clear for whoever's going to come and replace this or repair this, I'm going to add some markups. So really simple stuff. I just want someone to know exactly where this fault is. So I'm going to add a quick circle highlighting, and then I'm just going to add maybe a bit of text information. So I'll say about 1 centimeter of damage. So just a bit of information to help someone when they come and replace this. And just to make sure everyone can see this as clearly as possible, whoever's coming to replace this, I'll add a background so it's nice and clear. I'll hit a save button and hit save just there. Now, the last thing I want to do is, I know my company uses some internal fault codes, and they've added those into Manifest, some custom fault codes. So at the bottom there, I'm going to add an actual unique fault code. So I can see if I look down, so 07 is wheel damage. I can hit that save button. So I'm just making sure I've left a fault, damage to tire, a photo, a fault code, and now I can quickly hit that save button. Perfect. So with that being done, I can now jump to the next step. Just so done. And I actually am going to jump back into the AR mode one more time, just to make sure I get that last bit of content available to me. And there we go. So this last one is just asking me to ensure visibility of the tire or tire sizes on the tire. So again, maybe open up some content, and that's roughly where I should be able to see. So a little bit dark there, but I can see it says 5.00 to 5. Okay, perfect. So tire size is there. We've seen everything is completed, and everything is now done. So I could move on to the last step or move on to the completed job. But what I'm quickly going to do is jump back to the 2D view. And although this is optional, I'm going to quickly let Matt know that I'm about to complete the training. So within Manifest, I can click this on the right-hand side, this Connect tab, and I can actually send Matt a quick message. So I can see he's online by his green icon there. I'm going to tap on his name, and then I'm going to send him a quick message. So I'm going to say, "Hi, Matt. I'm just about to finish my training." And I'll hit send. So I'll just send that to Matt. He can reply in his own time, but I just want to let him know. So with that being said, I can now hit that done button on the right-hand side, and that is going to complete my job. And I'll jump out of that just to make sure that module has been added to my completed tab. And with that being done, I think I've done all my iPad training. So that job can be sent over to Matt to review on the web portal.
So Johnny did a fantastic job on his training, and I really appreciated how he sent me a note. So I'm now viewing Manifest on my administrator login. This is the Manifest web portal, and this is a very convenient way for me to use Manifest on any device with a web browser. And it also gives me access to some more advanced capabilities of Manifest. What I want to do is I actually want to review the job that Johnny just completed, the training. And as long as I find it up to our standards, I'm going to be able to certify him into that job. So I'm going to come to my work history tab, and this is a view that I will often use just to get a bird's eye of what is all of the trainings, all the tasks that have been completed recently. And I can see the procedure titles, I can see the actual serialized asset that they were working with. I can see who did the job, and even some basics around who actually did it and how long they took to complete it. Sometimes I'll view this data in Manifest. Sometimes I'll export it to Excel or comma separated value for our analytics team. Today, I'm just going to click into this module to understand how the job went. So here I can see that excellent, he left evidence on step 2. He did notice a fault on step 3. That's interesting. So it sounds like there was some damage to the tire. He marked fault code 7. And that's actually news to me. That damage shouldn't be there. Johnny's already doing a great job, but what I want to do is I'm actually going to assign work against this fault, not to Johnny, but to a more senior technician. So to do that, I'm going to either select a tire change template if we had it, but since we don't, I'm just going to assign a quick task instructing the user to change the tire. And I'm going ahead and assign this to John Matthew, who's a more senior technician at our company. So kudos to Johnny for finding that damage. He really went above and beyond in this training. And now John is going to receive that notification and change that tire when he can get to it. Beyond that, I think Johnny did a really great job, so I am going to certify him into this training. In my day-to-day job as a technical trainer and a content creator here, I often use the Manifest web browser for either editing existing trainings or adding a whole lot more detail to new trainings. So to do that, I come over here to my templates tab, and here I can see the entire list of all the trainings that we have at my company. I'm going to go to my drafts, and I'm going to edit a draft of a current inspection. I've been working on this for a few weeks now, and I'll often come here if I want to do more than surface level edits, right? So if I want to reorder the steps, it's really easy for me to do so in this interface. I also like that I can edit the order that media is actually presented to a user. So on step 1, I really want this bookmark to come first. So I can easily just drag and drop that to appear there. Previously, we saw Johnny needing to attach evidence to move on to a different step. I really like that, and we could just select either any evidence being required, but let's actually require a photo note on this step. And then we'll also use the Manifest web interface to access more kind of advanced level content authoring tools. So if I want to use a choice note, I often do that here. Choice notes in Manifest are really designed for branching logic. So if we have the opportunity where we want to collect input from the trainee and then drive them down a different path depending on that input, that's when I use a choice note. Sometimes I'll upload 3D models or play 3D models animations here. There's a lot that you can do in this Manifest web interface for authoring. I might also use Manifest for web if I have a pre-existing package, say a Microsoft Guides training package. I can upload that in Manifest just to smooth out and expedite the process of importing those. So that's really how I use Manifest for web in my day-to-day job. Now I'm going to send a message to Johnny really quick, just letting him know that I'm done here. Oops. Now you see us just doing text notes back and forth, but we'll also use Manifest Connect for one-on-one video calls as well.
Okay, and what I can now show is I have received Matt's message, and I'm actually now logged in to Manifest on the Apple Vision Pro. So our headset experience, our hands-free experience, it looks similar to Manifest on the iPad, where we have all our information available, our Connect window, and I can actually see previous conversations we've had together, but I can also see that Matt has sent me a message about the updated templates. So from here, I can actually go through some training modules, some live operation work, whatever I need. But what I'm going to go do now is actually, now Matt has said he's updated the template, I need to get started. What I can do is I'm going to open up my work tab. So just here, nice and easy to open up. I'm going to select only my work. And I'm going to see we have an updated module here. We has been highlighted as high priority, hence the red color. So what I'm going to do is close that down. The window, we're finished talking with Matt. And now I'm going to open up my work module. So I'm going to open it up and see we can have the updated template just here. So everything in Manifest is nice and easy to move around. We can create a nice, easy workspace. So I'm just going to minimize this and make it quite lean. And just like on Manifest on the iPad, I can review any of this work. So I can review all these steps and make sure they're all appropriate for me. I can open up any of what we call these notes. So text notes, photo notes, video notes, all this good stuff. And then when I'm ready, what I can do is actually hit this Start Job button. So when I hit Start Job, what it's going to do is ask me to, again, associate myself with the asset. So I have the asset in front of me, and what I'm going to do is scan this QR code. So again, using the headset function, I'm just going to hit scan, and I'm going to scan and have that QR code just highlighted there. So as soon as I hit that scan button, what's going to happen is I'm just going to minimize this background to make it nice and neat. The job's going to start just on the iPad. We have associated ourselves with the asset, and we actually have our information displayed to us right now, right in front of me. So I have a short description just telling me what to do, a nice modularized area over here. So just like before, I'm being asked to do an inspection on the landing gear for leaks and cracks. I can actually open up these notes as well. So all these notes are really nice and easy just to open up, and I can actually cycle through these super easily. So I can see all the photos that will be marked up, the videos, the text notes. And then most importantly, I can actually see some of this AR content. So I can move around and I can actually see these nice and highlighted, the leaks and cracks, the general areas that I'm supposed to be looking. So I can check anything here, check all the struts at the top. And just like before, whether this is for training, I'm being guided on where to look. So this is much more hands-on experience. I can actually use both hands to complete this, do my checks. And then when ready, I can simply hit this done button and jump to the next step. And just like before, I'm being guided. Okay, so I'm now checking for linkage connections just to make sure they're nice and secure. So I have, again, these two nice leader lines guiding me on the two portions of the asset I'm working on. And then these arrows just guiding me on the rough directions for these linkage connections. Just like before, maybe I know that the photo note is the most useful one here. So I can actually see all of these points, super useful. Time manifest on the headset. One of the most useful features I find is everything is modular and movable. And what I mean by that is I can actually grab this photo note and drag it over to the left side and place it there. And that's now locked in place. So I can actually start to make my own work environment that works for me. I can maybe scale this up slightly and move it to the left so I can really see and get a good view of where I'm checking. So then I can, with just a flick of my eyes, actually see this photo, check each of these connection points against the physical asset. So having that modular and movable assets is super useful. And it's not just with these text notes. If for whatever reason this step marker gets in my way, I can simply move that back, maybe move it back a bit. And then when I move to the side of the asset, I can fully see what's going on. So good, I've checked all the linkage connections. Everything seems fine. But just like before, and just as Matt mentioned, I actually now am being asked to, there's a little tab at the top here telling me I have to leave some evidence. So if for whatever reason I try and jump away from this, I'm going to get an error code, which no one wants. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to leave some evidence just here. So your traditional 2D data. So we have the videos, photos, audio notes. Maybe for this one, I'll leave a quick photo note just to show that this connections are all secure. So what I'll do is just hit photo. I have the option to include holograms. I could include all these arrows and all these spatial markers, but I just need to make sure that the information I'm providing is of this asset. So I'm actually not going to select those holograms. I'm going to get nice and close so all the assets and all the linkage connections can be seen. And then I'm going to hit capture, just so. And that's going to capture a nice image. Maybe it needs to be a bit closer, but I can retake that if needed. That image has been taken of the asset. It's proven that the work I'm doing has been done correctly, and then the linkage connections are secure. So that being said, I'm going to jump to the next step. And this one we've seen before, but it's now going to ask me to do a quick check on, oh, sorry, that's actually just uploading to manifest. And with that being said, I can now jump to the next step. Again, we're now being asked to just quickly check on the wheel. So I could do that full visual inspection. Maybe I'll quickly walk around, and I do know there's an error and a fault on the other side. But if I was working on this asset for the first time, and maybe I found that fault for the first time, you can absolutely raise that on the headset. So just where we have all this content here. So again, all our text notes and photos, videos, our description, we can actually raise a fault just up here. So it'd be exactly the same way where I would tap add fault. I'd leave a brief description. I'd leave some photos, videos, some evidence. I'd actually maybe even leave some spatial markers, but create a fault that can then be worked upon by the team. Likewise, if I ever needed support or going through this job, I can actually connect with someone. So if I maybe needed some support from Matt, I could quickly hit this connect button just here, and I'd be able to jump to a call with him. He'd be able to see the exact view you're seeing right now, and we could actually work through a problem together. It's a really useful feature that I can have, but I don't need that right now. So I'm actually going to hit the next step. And as we've seen before, it's just going to ask me to check the tire size, which we do know is there. So with that being said, I'm actually going to jump to the last step of this, And the last step of this is quite a unique thing for the headset, and it's where we can bring in the use of 3D models. So I'm actually going to tap this done button, and that is going to load the next step, which is going to now bring up sort of a comparison of a 3D model. So we've got no markups on this, even though we could. I can just see if I look up, it's just going to ask me to compare the 3D model. So that being said, I'm just going to jump in just there, and let me just jump this back over here. Sorry, 1 second. With that being said, we have reviewed the 3D model, reviewed all the content, and we've now seen the work package on the headset. So the Apple Vision Pro is much more of a hands-on experience. I can actually do the work with my hands while seeing the content available. And once that's done, and once we've completed everything, it comes up in a nice completed work package here. We can see all the steps we completed, any evidence I raised, and I can review that. And then once that's been done, that whole work package goes into the same workflow that we saw from the iPad. So it'd be sent to Matt, my trainer, or my manager, and they'd be able to review all the work that I just completed. So with that, we completed all the training that I need to do, both on the iPad and on the headset.
Okay, that was great, guys, and everything worked. That never happens in a demo. Let me get to the right slide here. Thank you. Yeah, so that was a great look at our core functionality within a training scenario. I think it's important to note that we'll work in all sorts of different use cases, including inspections, all sorts of maintenance and operational procedures. We just chose to focus on that training use case because we have an awful lot of customers using our software for training. What you saw, again, just in recap, there were 2 of our products. You saw the Maker product, which is our free AI-powered creation tool. That runs on iPad. It also runs on iPhone and the Vision Pro. And then our operational tool, Manifest. You saw that running on the iPad, as well as a web interface, as well as, again, Vision Pro. But we support all sorts of devices. We're committed to being device agnostic. We'll support the older HoloLenses and Magic Leap still, Meta devices. We love the DigiLens Argo device. We're trying to enable choice for our customers, and we're trying to enable users to pick the best tool for the right job. Depending on what you're doing, what the use case is, what your environment is, there's all sorts of good options. So we're committed to supporting the devices you're using today, as well as these future devices that continue to be launched, whether that be an XR headset, new phone, etc. And you may have picked up on this as well, as 3D is awesome. AR is awesome. We think there's a lot of value in work instructions and enhancing how people learn and operate. 2D on the iPad is a perfectly great way to start, as well as a tremendous amount of value. So both 2D and 3D are options with Manifest. We didn't cover everything. It was a demo. It was hands-on. It was live. There's a lot of important kind of plumbing features, enterprise kind of grade capability that we have within Manifest that really helps you scale and integrate across your organization. So just to call out a few, this isn't a comprehensive list, but we have a full editorial and approval workflow now. So you can make sure that your workers, your technicians are using the latest, greatest approved version of a work instruction. We have this orgs feature that allows you to organize your data in very flexible ways and really map to the way that your business is organized today. So if you want to organize by location, by business unit, by skill level, by equipment, all of that is completely up to you and embedded in the Manifest. We have a full set of APIs and some pre-built integrations so that you can connect and integrate to workflows, share data, etc. Everything you'd expect for kind of middleware, enterprise-grade software. And for folks that are guides users out there and that are looking to move to different platforms, we've even developed some built-in technology to help you transform and convert guides to Manifest procedures. On top of that, Taqtile offers a number of services, from training to helping you run pilot programs to building custom integrations. Again, just to help you get started and help you embed and scale Manifest across your organization. So related to that, we have three, you can call them offers, you can call them deals, you can call them packages, but these are three kind of structured engagements that include some services and some licenses. And again, they're built to help people get started and deploy Manifest quickly. So the Training Quick Start is a quick, easy way. It's a handful of licenses, a little bit of consulting with a low price. It's a quick, easy way to get going. Rapid Insights program, very popular program. We've run a number of them this year since launching it, and it really helps someone run a team, run a pilot system, capture some real metrics, some actionable metrics, some benchmarks, and allow you to quantify the value of Manifest within your operation using your procedures, your equipment. And then finally, we have this program specifically designed for guides users that are trying to migrate. It's quick, fast, 2 weeks. We'll build some procedures. We have a very attractive pricing, and we just make it easy to transform from guides to Manifest. So all these are available. There's a bunch of information. We're happy to get on a call and talk you through the details. But if you're interested, these are a great way to get started with Manifest. So with that, let me open it up in Q&A. If you haven't submitted a question, go ahead and do that. You can hit these QR codes while we're waiting for Q&A to come in. You can set up a call, or you can download Manifest Maker. Again, that's a free app. You can build some work instructions, use AI. It's pretty cool. So I think we're going to be joined by John Matthew, who's on our global sales team as well. John, Johnny, and Matt are all going to help out here with the Q&A. And we have a few questions to get going. I think, see, there's some questions. Johnny, I'll give this one to you. Someone's asking about AR, some of the AR stuff they saw either in Maker or on iPad, but they're curious how that was created. So maybe you can talk a little bit about Maker and what the devices Maker supports and how it supports AR.
Yeah, sure thing. Thanks for the question, guys. First of all, Maker is, as we said earlier, iOS application. So on the iPad and iPhone, there isn't currently any AR support, so authoring AR, but on the Apple Vision Pro, there is. So you can create full Manifest procedures, AR-enabled procedures. If you have an Apple Vision Pro, Manifest can be downloaded, or Manifest Maker, can be downloaded for free from the store, as I said, with AI in there, content creation, and AR authoring. Outside of Manifest Maker, the AR anchoring and content creation is still a no-code environment, so very easy to create content, essentially a drag and drop environment. And it can be created on any device we support. As Chris said, we kind of are agnostic to devices, and AR content can be created on any headset we have, so Apple Vision Pro, HoloLens, DigiLens, but it also can be created on the iPad. And it's very much a drag and drop process, similar to some of the stuff that Matt was creating, where he was dragging some photos and videos in. Essentially, what you would do is you would associate yourself with the asset and drag and drop where you want the content to appear for an end user. So it's very easy to create, no code, but on any device. Obviously, head-mounted devices are sometimes easier, but if you only have access to an iPad, content creation is fully available there as well.
Great, Johnny. While you're at it, can you just talk a little bit about our support for 3D models? And someone's curious if you can add multiple 3D models to a single task.
Yeah, sure. Obviously, we fully support 3D models, your typical types, FBX, OBJ, USDZ for the Apple devices. And we do have some specifications you can find on our community site, but they're pretty broad, and we support full models and textures, typically for digital orientation rather than overlaying on a physical asset, but anything's possible within the platform. As for multiple models, we can have multiple models associated with an asset and with a template. We do limit one 3D model to per step. So you could have a combined 3D model of multiple assets, but they would need to be a single file for per step. But if you wanted to have different models appearing on different steps, then that is possible. Yeah. And we do also support animated models. So if you want to have, our typical ones are assembly, disassembly use cases, then we can support models being used there as well.
Awesome. Yeah, great. Okay, this one's for John, and someone's asking about our Vision Pro support. specifically around Manifest. So maybe you can talk about both Maker and Manifest. And someone's curious about the functionality vis-a-vis HoloLens.
Yeah, so we fully support Apple Vision Pro for both Manifest Maker and full Manifest now. So that's something that we've added over the last several months. So there is no difference if you're comparing it, say, if you've used either or you've used full Manifest on HoloLens 2, it's exactly the same experience. I would say that the experience is better on Apple Vision Pro. We're talking about a device that was introduced a year and a half ago or so versus something that's been in market for almost 6 years. So clearly the technology has improved significantly. So yeah, the experience is fantastic.
Yeah, really good. Cool. I'll go back to Johnny or Matt if either one of you guys want to cover this, but there's two related questions around navigation and gestures. So someone's curious about voice command support, and when you're hitting next buttons, can you use voice? And then related, someone's curious about hand movements being an issue as detected as gestures on the headset. So maybe you can just, one of you guys can talk about voice nav and just hand nav with the XR headsets.
Yeah, happy to say that one as well. So the headsets we have support voice commands, and they also support, depending on the headset, a form of gaze gesturing. So if maybe you're in a loud environment and both your hands are free, we also have the ability to add toggle a gaze feature. So you look at a button, whether that's a move to the next button or a open a photo note button, you can open things by just looking at them. Likewise with the audio, again, if you were to, I guess, look at a check mark and say select, we do support that as well. Audio, yes. Gaze, yes. And then gesture control, yes. Obviously the gaze probably isn't supported on the iPad. That's just a head-mounted experience, but we do support all three. And then the second part around gestures being your hands being picking up gestures, I haven't seen that happen before. I think the headsets are pretty good these days. We're picking up when you're specifically touching or selecting rather than picking up an asset or working on a device. So I'd say that they're quite robust in knowing when you're selecting compared to performing an action on the asset.
Awesome. Matt, I got one for you. Someone's asking what platform's easiest to author? And I love this question because I don't think there's one right answer for this. So maybe you can talk a little bit about how you see our customers using and creating instructions across different types of devices.
Yeah, the device that's easiest for content authoring, I'm going to say short answer is Manifest Maker is the easiest. And as you saw in our demo, you can come up with a step-by-step procedure in minutes, even if you just have one video of somebody walking through the process. So that's really quick and really easy. There's also some functions that we didn't see, like you can use iOS object capture in Manifest Maker to scan 3D models. We have OCR built in, so you can scan physical documents and come up with features, just like how you saw I used AI for the parsing the video. That also supports document parsing. Manifest Maker is hands down the easiest and the quickest. However, you might supplement that procedure after you're done with Manifest Maker with putting on a headset and adding in augmented reality content with the drag and drop interface. You might go onto the web browser interface and add in those choice notes or upload a 3D model and play an animation. They all play very nicely with each other, but I find that Manifest Maker has the lowest barrier to entry.
Yeah, and it also depends on what you're doing and depends on how you're defining easy as well. But I tend to agree with you. But like we see a lot of people using web to crank out a bunch of instructions. So if you need to do 10, 20, 30 at a time, sometimes having a keyboard and a mouse is a great way to really do a lot of editing and a lot of text input at once. So it really depends. But I agree with Matt, like that AI functionality, transforming videos and documents in seconds to step-by-step instructions is both impressive and hugely valuable. All right, just looking through the questions. So, Johnny, this Manifest Maker iPhone or iPad, could we feed multiple short clips to auto-generate subtitles to have one continuous step process? This is for situations where clips were taken in short bursts. Any thoughts about using the video transformation?
Yeah. So in Manifest Maker, obviously, you may not have quite seen it in the demo, but there's like where you put your steps and all your content available. But we also have kind of a workshop, a scratchpad area, and that's where the videos are pulled from. And that scratchpad area can have multiple videos of long length or, as you said, short length, and they can all be selected in the AI generation process. So if you do have a bunch of short videos, then yeah, you can pull them all in together and create that step-by-step instruction, one format as well. I guess not really answering your question, but it's something that I think is a really, really nice feature in Manifest. Just to add on, is there is also editing tools in Manifest. So if you do have a long video and you want to bring it over, and maybe you want to do some AI generation and some manual editing of some videos, that's possible as well. It's again using some native iOS features of just cutting a video clip, but really intuitive, really quickly to do. That's all in there as well.
Yeah, awesome. Awesome. Okay, I'll reiterate a little bit of what's going on in the chat. So someone's asking about Android support. At a general level, like we strive to support as many platforms as we can. It's difficult. There's a lot out there, and we are driven by customer need and request and demand. We've actually had an Android beta out there a couple times in the past few years. The demand for it wasn't as high as some of these other platforms, and so we've just focused on other platforms. But we're constantly working on new versions and support for new devices. We have 3 or 4 in kind of beta experimental mode right now and are always working on new stuff. So stay tuned for that. How is the software license, John? You want to talk a little about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a license per user for full Manifest. So Manifest Maker is free. So your ability to create content is unlimited. And then if you actually want to consume that content inside of Manifest, you need to work with us on purchasing some licenses. So we're a software as a service model. We have yearly fees per user per license.
Excellent. And then I got another one for you, John, which always comes up in these webinars, is just like, how do these guys start? Do they go out and get a headset? Do they use iPad? Do they buy licenses? What's your recommendation on how to get started with us?
Yeah, absolutely. So as Chris pointed out earlier, we have a number of programs. In fact, Chris, if you want to flip back to that slide, I can actually just speak to it. But we have a number of customers that have had a lot of experience either with some software like guides or some competitors. They want to switch over to Manifest. That's super easy. We can help with a rapid insights program and really help identify exactly what you're wanting to achieve. If it's actually directly from guides, we have a specific guides migration program. And then if you just want to kick the tires, we have our training quick start, which provides some consulting so that you can actually feel confident that you're going to be able to make the most of your license purchase. So it's really about just reaching out to Taqtile, getting a hold of a salesperson, myself, or any of the folks we have in the US. I'm actually based in Paris, France, and I run the EMEA team here. We'd be happy to talk to you about how we can help you get started with Manifest. And really the best way is to just have a call and figure it out together.
Cool. Thanks for that, John. So with that, we're going to wrap up. Thank you, guys.
We got one more, Chris, real quick here.
Oh, we got one more? Okay.
The software has been validated for use in FDA-regulated pharma manufacturing. Does it comply to data integrity principles? Yes, it does. So we've had a number of pharmaceutical customers in the past, have a ton of success with those. And in fact, we actually created the whole content editorial process to align with some of the regulations that the pharma industry has around the world. We would be happy to talk to you about those experiences and help you figure out if Manifest could be right for you.
Yeah, perfect. Great. Thank you, everyone, for staying on. These were great questions. If you have more, feel free to hit us up, set up a meeting, or send us an email. Again, everyone will receive a recording of this. And again, thanks for Johnny and Matt for doing a great demo. And thanks, everyone.